Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of the WazzyCircus Radio, the show where I sit down with the most amazing people on the planet. Yo, shout out to my Patreon patriots. You know who you are. WazzyCircus.com is now live because of you. You guys can get your logbooks, jerseys, suits, check out the new adventures, and future flight nights announcements will be on WazzyCircus.com, not Facebook, because people are leaving Meta or Facebook. Shout out again to you guys for the safest year in skydiving. It still blows my mind. I think I'm going to say it every show this year. That is amazing. Let's keep it going. Let's stay safe. Keep your head on a swivel. Hook that shit. We all love this shit, right? Toast to Life tonight is by the last of the slow and low that was in the bottle from the last show. Salud, amigo.
Salud.
My guest today, 4 years ago today, he shows up in Austin with this ragtag group of guys talking about, Waz, teach me how to be a tunnel instructor, right? Did his FITP with us, the Austin Tunnel. Today, he flew in yesterday. Today, he got his level 4 sign off as an instructor. That is fucking bad ass, dude.
Right.
5 skydives, not really fucking getting on it too hard.
Slowly walking myself to it.
But hold on. I gotta get here. Bubba Jaun Sillas, fucking level 4 instructor, El Paso, iFLY, skydiver, ghost hunter.
Ooh, wow.
You've done that.
I have.
It's real.
Yes.
Do you?
They lurk.
That's not funny. Do you believe in ghosts?
I do.
100%.
I do. But
100%. Like, there's fucking ghosts.
There's ghosts.
Okay.
Yeah, but it also. Oh, geez.
Like, what is a ghost?
It's.
Like, can it leave?
So I don't know. I've had odd experiences that kind of persuades me or sways me into thinking like, oh yeah, these are real. So there's a story where not a story. It's I was asleep and I wound up seeing. I woke up in the middle of the night, wound up walking downstairs and saw somebody, like a figure, but complete white. And I'm a kid. Yeah. I don't know, dream this up.
Right. This is El Paso.
This is not in El Paso. This is in College Station, right? So we're in some apartments, and it's 2 stories, right? So my brother and I are in bunk beds. I wake up, and there's like a Duracell yellow, you know the look, flashlight sitting right next to my head. So I remember just like looking over to it, waking up, and look at it, kind of like in awe, like, what's this doing here? You know, and aloof. So I wound up grabbing it, and I flicked it on, and I hear crunching downstairs, right? So like somebody's eating. So I always like being near my parents, my family, right? So my first thought was, oh, go check it out, go see what they're doing. You know, sometimes they're sitting at night, late at night, watching TVs, you know. So walk downstairs, and straight down the stairs, there's a front door. And then panning to the right, there's the front, or the living room. And then past that is the kitchen, dining room, back, right? I'm panning. And that's when I like skim over this figure kind of like hunched down, kneeling, facing away from me. And semi-long hair, you know, and he's holding something, and it looks male, right? But it's facing away from me. And I pan over it and like seize up because I understand, like, I have no idea what this is. So I stopped. Right, and I couldn't move, couldn't run. So see this thing, it's kneeled over, and it to what I seen or assumed, it saw the light. So it starts to like slowly, really eerily stand back up, and then it drops our cat, and our cat kind of like flips over, lands on his feet, and heals, and then like runs off.
What do you mean heals?
So he was like eating the stomach, drops our cat, and like completely, he's fine. Our cat, Max, so it was like there was no damage done, whatever the thing was eating, right? So our cat runs off. It starts walking towards me, and I have the flashlight on it, and I can see black, just dark, straight through the eyes, but I can see it walking towards me. And by that time, I mustered the strength to just start screaming from the top of my lungs, right? My parents run down, just loud, banging on things. They have no idea what's happening. So then my dad runs up, grabs me first, picks me up, and I'm still facing whatever is looking at me, right?
So it never left.
It never left. So he's holding me. Mom runs up in front, pans, looks, and then looks straight at me and tells me, like, this isn't real. This isn't real. Relax. And then starts talking to me. And by that time,
you're
it's
freaking
gone.
me the fuck out,
So I've gotten similar reactions.
I'm sorry, you guys. I don't like this
similar
ghost
reactions.
shit. Nigga, I don't like this ghost shit.
It was like things like that. And then for a certain amount of time, a small amount of time after that, my dad then would like sit at the foot of my bed. And I guess until I felt comfortable just sleeping by myself. Even though we were in bunk beds, my brother slept in the top bunk most of the time. So weird things like that.
Yeah. So that was how old? 8?
I was probably around like maybe spitball. I was maybe like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 pushing it because I moved soon after that.
You could operate a flashlight. So.
Yeah. So I was mobile. I was thinking.
Yeah.
So that was a weird one.
So what about like these cemeteries in El Paso?
All right. So in El Paso, there was a plague back, if I'm correct, in the 20s, earlier on, that had decimated, and it had killed a lot of people. So there weren't a lot of cemeteries back then. So what they would do is house the bodies underground, which are also the tunnels that, we were talking about that. We could talk about that. So the schools back then were converted from high schools or middle schools, I believe middle schools, mainly high schools, converted into hospitals for the time being. And in those hospitals, they also housed the dead.
Right.
So
similar thing happened with COVID, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning.
A lot of people
remember
just
that? They had trucks. Remember they had trucks in the back of these places? Because there were too many bodies. They had refrigerator trucks.
Yeah.
That's modern time.
Wild to see.
So imagine back in the plague, there was no like, dang.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so bodies being housed, so the high schools were the hospitals.
High schools were the hospitals. So story has it that El Paso High School, was one of those schools that was converted into a high school. My middle school, that being the original Bowie, now Guillen Middle School, original Bowie High School, now Guillen, and that school was also converted too. And I would hear like clicking, like somebody walking down the hallway, but I'm by myself. There was a
at the
time
high school?
In middle school. So you'd hear things would fly, like kind of just really oddly.
Like all the students noticed this shit?
Yeah. So there's more stories. I think there's even like a documentary, or there's a story that has El Paso High that comes out in it. And the teacher, if I'm also correct, unfortunately, it passed away soon after that. What I was told. Mm-hmm. But the teacher would have a certain ghost that would flip desks, rearrange the desks, move things. You'd hear the ghost right next to you, So
this is a fucked up podcast.
Yeah, it is. Good morning. There's more.
I love it. Bring it.
So,
all right. So the ghost is fucking flipping desks and talking to the teacher.
Right. So
and the teacher didn't leave.
No.
Dude, we're gonna make a movie.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
I'm gonna have Dusty Shaw shoot this shit. We're gonna fucking make a movie.
We've tried retrieving like pictures. There's certain areas of the school that are completely chained up and blocked off. You can't go up there. Say, if it's even because like old foundation or whatever, whatever reasons why somebody shouldn't be up there. It's all gated, and it's all up towards the very top of the high school. And the high school is tiered. It has, like, I think it's no less than, like, 4 stories. And it's a wide school. It's a big school. It spans on the side of the mountain.
Okay.
Right? So there's another story that had happened where she was, if I'm correct, the cheerleader. And this is back in the day. Yeah, dilly, sure. So,
gotta drink to that, son.
From what I understood, it was she had wound up pregnant. And it was either the time of the game or like prom, something like that. But she let him know. She let him know that she was going to wait in the middle of the football field, and if he didn't, I didn't know what the true repercussions would truly be, right? So what happens is that he doesn't show up. She climbs to the very top of the building and jumped. So now they say it's a time of the year, but they have a recent picture. That's it's a few months ago. This is during COVID too. Some people had gone, and there is a silhouette of a person standing there.
Yeah, fuck you, Bubba.
Right.
So, I thought we were talking about layouts and backflips and shit on the fucking show.
This is why I fly.
Oh, this is
to
so
detach.
Spooky. That's spooky. And I know it may not be real, but it's so much fun.
Right?
It's so much fun. Yeah. What's that? Okay, look at that high school. Is that smudged up? That's fucking fake.
So
this is bullshit. Show it, mama.
This is a long time ago. I believe maybe back in the 70s.
Look at that shit. Is that real?
The smudged person, yeah.
I'm fucking tearing up over here.
It seems fake, but this is a real photo of the class of whenever.
70-something. Look at that hair, hairdos.
Yeah,
look at that skirt in the front.
And
look at the mustaches and shit.
Nobody around the person, or I'll say just the figure.
Nobody
can tell. There's it's El Paso.
We don't be messing with them ghosts. They're like, nah. They can have that shit. We're gonna go to Las Cruces,
right? Yeah.
Okay, look, there she is. Second row, guys. Second row on the right.
Second row, and the people around her have been questioned and asked, and I don't know how long ago this was, but nobody knows who that person is.
That shit's
nobody
Photoshop.
can tell.
That's not. Look, she's all old school looking.
Right.
She looks more old school than them. I don't want to look at her. God bless her.
She looks like she's in a gown.
She looks scary, man. What's she doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody owes her $20, dog. She wants her money, dog. Right. Oh, man. So the whole town haunted, man?
Yeah. Well, yeah, certain
Think
areas.
about all old towns are haunted.
Yeah, El Paso's old.
All old towns are haunted.
It's gone through a ton of stuff. It's historical.
So, ghosts and spirits, man. So the thing that gets me on this is, all right, this is a little weird, but the light, that perceivable light that our eye can fucking
detect.
Yeah, or translate, right? We can like rod and cone flip it and see it.
Yeah.
It's very small on the spectrum. Very small. And then it goes ultraviolet. Does it go to infinity? What's past ultraviolet? What goes past ultraviolet? There's a spectrum. And then it goes infrared a lot that way. Right? And we see this much.
Right.
And then cameras and shit are picking up like UFOs and other things because they see this much.
They can see heat.
Heat, right, infrared and all this shit.
Yeah,
We have like the new the Webb telescope that now can infrared deep space shit. Our eyes don't see that stuff.
No.
If our eyes could, we could probably see spirit, dude.
That'd be well, I don't know. That's seemed a little bit weird.
It would be weird, but we could. Well, imagine seeing infrared. That would freak you out if you walked outside and you could see things glowing in the trees and shit. You'd be like, oh, I can see all animals now.
You could see the essence.
Yeah, that'd be trippy. So then you'd be able to see spirit too. And then you just get locked up somewhere. Yeah. And eat Zoloft all day because that's fucking nuts.
There's a room for that.
So El Paso's a really religious place too.
It can be.
Really Catholic? Is it Catholic is the dominating?
Christian, Catholic. There's I'd say it's actually an even mix. We'd even say as far as like even Mormon. Okay. Right. So
yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah. So
they got missions and shit, man. They don't
yeah, they don't mess around.
They don't mess around. They're knocking on doors, baby. Yeah. Selling vacuum cleaners and
they're saying hello.
Hello. So is man, the border's right there. Yep. You said your high school, one of your schools was 40 feet from the border?
Yeah, roughly.
Border town, man.
If you're counting the distance of how long a freeway would be, or no, say freeway.
The width?
The width? Uh-huh. That's how far we were from the border.
From Mexico?
Yeah. So
was there a wall, or not a wall, but a fence?
Yeah,
or the
there's
river?
A tall fence. Very tall fence.
Like chain link fence or like a wall fence? It's concrete?
It used to be...
Just a tall barbed wire fence.
It was barbed wire chain link fence, yes.
Because when I came to El Paso, it was barbed wire chain link that the
and
whole
then hard iron. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
to keep us here or them there?
I don't know. Yeah, like I want to go to Mexico.
I want to go to Mexico too.
Nice.
Like they're fucking. What are they doing? They won't let us in.
Those trips.
Mexico's the shit. So what was the story like?
All right. So what was the question?
The high school. You're like, yeah.
Me in high school. So the immigrants, people that would cross over illegally, so there were times back when I was in high school, even middle school, because my close was just as far, right? We're just walking, like, it's literally a mile in difference.
Right.
Right, and they're same distance away from the border.
Right.
So at Guyane, I didn't see it too much because it was a lot of live action. There was a lot of movement.
What does that mean?
We were always outside. There were not security, but there was like always kids, things like that, hustle and bustle, children. Right? Yeah. So when I was in high school, I saw it the most, where we'd be walking and just roaming the halls between classes. Right. So we'd be roaming the halls, and then we'd see like a group of people that look a little battered walking in. They'd run into the bathroom, wash up, and then run out, and just like sitting there like puzzled, like, what the hell was that?
What was that? That's crazy. The high schoolers, like, what the fuck?
So there were bomb threats at school, not trying to make it seem like it was that violent, that bad, but we just run into that. That was probably the worst it's ever gotten, right?
Where did the bomb threats come from?
So I actually don't know. But since it was being El Paso, and then Juarez was once
a war town.
Yeah. Bowie was right next door.
Okay, right?
So we would get
threats.
Yeah, we would catch the flag.
Hey, man, those families knew that they could, like, if they can get into high school, they can wash up and then make the next leg of the trip north. Yeah. Because they don't want to stop in El Paso, they'll get caught.
No.
So then
no, not even that. So, not quite. I actually had some friends that were, I don't understand or know how they were able to get into the school system, but they were, I didn't understand it. I didn't ask too many questions about it. But I had friends that were from Juarez that would cross the border legally and go to school.
Illegally or legally?
Legally. Correctly.
Oh, well, they probably have family. That stuff probably works. Mm-hmm. Right, yeah, that's
so they were probably using, like, somebody else's address.
Right. Right, gotcha.
So that's one thing that I did know. I had friends that were from Mexico that would go back home crossing the border, and like even the borders, just driving across the border is kind of hell.
Like every day, right?
It's super congested. Yeah.
Yeah,
so, yeah, it's best to walk. It's best to walk over.
And you can just walk across.
Yeah, you'll walk over in just a few minutes.
Man, wifey's watching the Underground Railroad on Netflix right now, and I'm just thinking about the Mexican Underground Railroads that exist.
Yeah.
Even to this day, they've probably been around for years.
Yeah.
What those stories are like, and getting the families with the food and it's hot, or the evading the fucking the border patrol is deep and thick. Mm-hmm. It's crazy down there. You know what I mean? Like,
Pretty
I don't see how you can get through. Or you just crawling bush to bush, you don't get seen, and a drone goes over you with infrared.
You just have to carry a ghillie.
But you got your kids with you and shit,
Right.
That's fucking nutty.
Yeah. We have tunnels in El Paso.
Yeah.
That link. There are certain aged high schools that I know of, and they all are nuclear bomb shelters. Right. So during the what's it called? The Cold War. Right. But even then, so there's bomb shelters under most of the schools. I went to two different high schools, Bowie and Burgess. They both had bomb shelters, right? Mm-hmm. UTEP High School, UTEP, University of Texas at El Paso, has a bomb shelter, right? And I've been to each one of those, even at Bowie, right? So it was weird because they opened up the floor in the gym at Bowie, and you could see straight down into it was a hallway, a tunnel.
They're everywhere.
And
they were part of the infrastructure, it sounds like.
Yes. So to the best of my knowledge, they're all connected.
So, Oklahoma City has tunnels too, downtown, just like that.
I didn't.
Yeah, it's wild, but it's because the oil men would get kidnapped a lot, okay? So they'd be in their high rises or whatever, and if somebody tried to kidnap them or whatever, they could escape through these tunnels underneath the buildings.
Clever.
And it was built for the oil men. So who knows what those were for, right?
Right. But there's older tunnels in El Paso too.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's an old town.
Very old. So there are certain buildings where you could pay a nickel and watch a war, a revolution, Mexican Revolution, if I'm correct. I think it's the Mexican Revolution. But
it was fought in Juarez?
I don't know if it was fought in Juarez.
But how could they see?
But you're able to see far. There's mountain ranges and all, but there are certain places that are almost completely flat, and you can see till forever.
Yeah, from our hotel, we could see deep into Juarez, man. We'd sit up there at night, and that city's popping. Gosh, I wish I could just be fluid and go down there, man.
Yeah. Oh, you don't need to be. You don't need to be to have a good time.
I know it. I know it, man. So, yo, you guys, this is gonna be a short show because we got Rogan tickets and the show starts We gotta get out of here. This is a quick, and he's just here in town to train. So, I really want to pick it. You see how amazing it is. We'll get him back on the show, man. So, pretty man. 4 years is about right to get to level 4, right? Yeah. Because it's like a college program, man. It's like your bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
Right? And then your master's program is your trainer's stuff. It's just the way it is.
I've not thought about it like that.
That is.
I really like that.
Yeah,
I really
like the way
you put it.
Yeah,
Perfect.
You just graduated today. You got your fucking bachelor's degree, bro. Right? You can
that
do
makes
everything.
It so much more.
You can do everything, though. I've watched you fly. It's pretty fucking amazing. I'll try to get some video up. But, you throw a hug and flip twist and infinity spins. I was like, Bubba! I taught you how to belly fly, motherfucker. I remember,
You taught me how to walk.
Yeah. Hey, but you were the best in the chorus, motherfuckers. Y'all know.
Thank you.
Y'all know he was the best in the chorus. That was dope. And you're still here. You're still loving it, man. So what's the best part of being a iFLY instructor, man?
So
with the gymnast background, by the way. So now you can do your tricks in the air. That's fucking the dream come true.
Yeah.
Right?
You get to get funky with it.
How long have you been a gymnast and a gymnast trainer?
So for being a gymnast, when I was younger, I had started, it was just 7 years, from 4 to, I believe, 11. I think that's 7.
Okay.
And then I did 1 year of cheerleading.
Okay.
Right? So after that, I went strictly into wrestling, and I wrestled from then on until high school. Right? And then I wrestled a year in college, or a year and a half in college, and then went to UTEP, the University of Texas at El Paso, and that was the picture you just saw. I'm on the far right, right? So, I did continue cheering for the next, I think it was 3 years. I want to say 2.5, say best.
And that's like flips. You're the male cheerleaders. Y'all are going hard as fuck.
I'd make a joke, and it was I pick up chicks. But it was true.
Yeah, you pick them up, throw them.
I'm a yell eater, bro.
Yeah.
That's all I do. So, like, flips, tricks, twists, whatever you name it. So now inside of the tunnel, like, oh, dude, it's the atmosphere.
Is it magic?
It's free.
Is it magic?
I can be
it's
me.
Magic.
Oh, yeah, and start like a little dance.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's the best thing ever, dude.
I love it.
Isn't it? I looked at the other day, and we were talking about, like, being teletruckers. You're like, we're fucking superheroes, man.
Yeah, we're so.
You're like, this is so awesome. I was like, I told you, dude. I told you. You're gonna be a fucking superhero, bro, in real life. You know?
Right.
All bitching aside,
Oh,
it's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Dude, I flew a lady the other day that reminded me why I did it. Right? It's like she was scared in the class. She wouldn't make eye contact. Didn't want to talk. She was like, okay, whatever. Everything I told her was like, okay, whatever. And she got in the wind, and she got it. Right? And I let her go.
It clicked.
And I was like, turn, do your thing. I grabbed her. I stood her up and set her down. She turned around, and she was in tears, dude. And she goes, that was wonderful. And she hugged me. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, lady. Because everybody else in the world sucks but you right now. Because the rest of this class sucks.
Yeah. It happens. It happens.
So we got to go fast, man. The journey to level 4.
Yes.
Highs and lows real quick, because it's a long way. Backfly, sit fly, coaching, layouts.
Yeah.
And you're at a hardcore professional tunnel. Like El Paso has.
Fly a lot.
Well, you guys have celebrity coaches.
Yeah.
You have the best
Claudio.
Yeah.
Rafa.
What? Come on. These names are crazy. Jesse Tex Leos. Yeah. Josh Ruiz Velasco. These guys are your normal. Other tunnels don't have access to superstars, dude. I know you guys, you don't understand because you guys aren't in the game.
No clue.
You
I
guys
have no
are
idea
like,
what I walked into.
Yeah.
One of my first questions to you was like, do you know any skydiving celebrities? And like, you looked at me like I am a celebrity. Like, I didn't know what I'm walking into. I had no clue, And then like, because we're sitting inside, you're sitting right next to Tony.
Yeah.
And you're both. We're all inside of the classroom. We're all FITP, and this is like day 1. We're getting to know you guys. So we're now starting to ask questions. Yeah. And that's when I asked that. And then you threw that little, that spitball at me. Right. And just like, oh, what?
And you work with some of my best friends now. Right? Like, dude, like so you get to watch the experience of watching the best in the world do what they do and being able to copy. I told you, what was the term I told you today? R&D. What does it mean?
R&D.
Rip off and duplicate.
Rip off and duplicate.
Yeah, do not research and develop. Rip off and duplicate. Watch them do exactly what they do because that's the best. They've refined it, bro.
I love it.
Why would you do anything different than do what Inc. is doing? What Claudio says is right. You know what I mean? What Jesse teaches is what works. That's why they make and they do what they do, and you guys have access.
Position right now.
Man, it's so amazing.
There's no mistake.
So what was the hardest part of your progression? We got to get the heck out of here.
Ooh, jeez. I struggled a lot on my backfly.
Me too.
I struggled a lot on sit fly, but it was also like I had, like you're saying, I had different coaches. There's a lot of things that I can send out to, right? Even say like Josh. Like I haven't seen him in a while. Before nationals, it's been a minute, but he was the one that wound
you
up
got coached by us. Josh.
Yeah, like
dude, that is so crazy.
He he'd
That's like saying,
like to throw
Eddie
those elbows
Bravo.
in.
Yo, Eddie Bravo taught me how to roll. Like, what'd you say?
Yeah.
You
And
know?
just, I had no idea who I'm
was your
sitting and
coach
talking
was.
to.
Right.
So, like, it's another average person, and they're a skydiver, and now you're trying to coach somebody else. Like, I don't know who you are, and all of a sudden, like, Eric, he's like, oh, Josh this, Josh that, and just, who's Josh? And then we start looking up, and we look up on Instagram, like, oh my,
that was your coach.
God.
That was your coach,
right?
Who do you think's taught you the most so far? Who's been most influential in this progression? Because you're shredded, man. I was really impressed with what I saw today.
I appreciate that. I try my hardest.
You don't group fly much though.
I try.
You were slow on keeping up with me in Austin today.
I was.
You were like lost a little bit.
We could try it.
But your solo shit was killer. I was like, come on, let's go. You're like, what are you doing, Bubba? Wow. Right. I'm just So who's been your biggest influence?
So, it's a hard one to place. But I've had a ton. Yeah. But I mean, there's a long.
Give me your top
list.
3 shout outs right now. Look at the camera. Tell them thank you.
So honestly, I could just say my team.
Yeah.
Right.
So
on. El Paso.
Shout out to iFLY El Paso, baby.
So oh my God.
Yeah.
Every class moves swimmingly just because I have their support.
Right.
Their help.
Yeah.
And their help even when you don't need it.
That's your team, baby. So it's a family.
I love those guys. I cherish them. I'll even buy them taquitos in the morning,
We're clicking down right now. What was your biggest obstacles to getting to where you're at right now?
My biggest obstacle was getting over my fear of even my layouts. So a lot of it was like hucking it and just throw it, like get it over. And it wasn't until recent where I started actually kind of feeling the wind.
I saw you playing with your hands.
Yeah.
I was like, look at him having
feeling
fun.
It out.
You got to do that,
right?
Man.
So
There's
a deeper understanding into in wind.
There's a peace.
It's wild because we can fly.
Yeah. And then we do cool shit.
We're superheroes, right?
Yeah, that's right. All right, go to the book. Let's get this story on WazzyCircus Radio. Oh, that was a micro fucking podcast, you guys. I know, but wasn't that rad? We scared the shit out of you. Now we're about to go watch Joe Rogan and drink this whiskey. Hey, keep your head on a swivel. WazzyCircus.com. iFLY. Go fly. Go to your local drop zone. Go jump. Support us, man. We got to keep this life fly. Stay fly. Let's get it, Bubba.
All right. So, no shit. There I was. Cow pie, rattlesnake. What's the difference? Sometime in the mid-1980s, before audible altimeters, I was videoing a four-way at Otay, Borderland. We didn't dirt dive. We just threw it together. The last point was a star. And in the video, you can see that we somehow held the formation through 2 grand. You can see the first person leave the formation. Then the next one on the right after.
Oh my God.
Which was about 1,600 feet.
Oh Jesus.
Now it's a 2-way with Duffy Fainer and another guy. In the video, if you watch closely, you can see one guy, blonde hair, no helmet, no. do a double take on his wrist mount and dart away. Now we were just above 1,000, maybe 1,200 feet. I knew we were getting low, but I never looked at my altimeter, since doing something sensible like that would have disrupted the continuity of the video. I was unaware of just how low we were. Then, like an idiot, I pointed to Duffy, indicating he should pull first so I could film his opening.
Fucking cameraman.
Right. Film his opening. What you don't see in the video are 2 guys in their fishing boat at the eastern tip of Otay Lake, leaning back and looking straight up at me. I will never forget that sight. I swear I thought I was going to land right between them. I whipped out my main and prayed that there would be no pilot chute hesitation, because if it did hesitate, all three of us were about to die. Oh. I estimate that I pulled it at about 500 feet. It may have been higher. I don't know, because I wasn't going to look at my altimeter then either. Don Mama saw Duffy's canopy open, but not mine. From his perspective, I was still in free fall, and when I disappeared behind a tree, he was so sure that I had bounced on the other side of the lake that he called the San Diego County corner. It took me an hour and a half in the hot, late spring sun to get to a point where I could safely walk across the lake. Eventually, I arrived at the point where the jump planes taxi out, where the beginning of the runway starts. At the far eastern end of the DZ, all I had to do was walk across the narrow stream, and I was home free. No big deal. But as I stood there taking off my shoes, I heard a noise behind me, behind the berm. I couldn't see it, but it was a familiar sound. A Cessna 180 was about to land and was headed right at me. I dove into the wet and muddy ground, barely missing the landing gear, as it screamed over me and touched down just on the other side of the stream. Now I was pissed. After getting dirty and wet on top of being hot, exhausted, and very thirsty, but here came a 180 taxiing out with a load of jumpers. As it rotated to take off position, I saw one jumper through the open door, sitting with his back against the instrumental panel. He mouthed the words, "You're alive." I almost lost it. The next thing I saw was Duffy and several others sprinting over to me. There had been a wagon riding the back hills, looking for me. It was the coroner. Everyone was pleased that they didn't have to shut down the DZ because I impacted off-site. As Duffy and I strategized about how to get me across the little stream, I was reminded that rattlesnakes love to sun themselves in the spring. I even noticed that I was concerned about this. Now that I've cheated death twice, I told Duffy I would follow his footsteps exactly so as to avoid any unpleasant poisonous creatures with my bare feet. Of course, he stepped on what looked like a cow pie, but as my left foot came down, the pie suddenly came alive.
Oh, fuck.
Lifted its head and stuck its little forked tongue out at me. It was a baby rattler, and my next step would have been into its waiting mouth. Randy Forbes.
Randy Forbes.
Whoa.
That was a fucked up jump, Randy Forbes. Yo, WazzyCircus Adventures, WazzyCircus suits, WazzyCircus jerseys, WazzyCircus logbooks. Support us on Patreon. Shout out to my new Patreon patriot, Charlie. I thank you very much, man. I thank all my patriots. Nicholas Romo, why you delete me, buh? Holla at your boy. iFLY El Paso. Check out some fucking great coaching deals, you guys. It's the real deal out there. Great coaches. They got a drop zone 5 minutes away. Come see me in Austin. I got drop zones. We all got drop zones. We all got planes. Holla at your boy. Let's go. Rogan.